Good afternoon, welcome to Auto Shenanigans. My name is John and you're watching Britain's Abandoned Road. Today, we've come down to Hindhead to look at the old A3 and the route that it used to take before the Hindhead Tunnel opened in 2011. As far back as the Tudor times, the dockyards at Portsmouth has always sent its wares north via a 73-mile road to London. That road would have come right through here and twisted and turned its way up to the summit of Gibbet Hill. From there, it was on to Guildford and then on to London. It wasn't until 1826 that the road saw its first major adjustment. As mentioned, the original route went up to the summit of Gibbet Hill, but by the time the horses and all of their wagons and loads got up to the top, they would have been exhausted, so it made sense to build a road on a much smaller gradient of only 5%. The road was dug out of the hillside, which at the time was quite a feat of engineering, and it followed the edge of what we know as the Devil's Punch Bowl. Over here, running around here, is the old A3 that would have followed around the Devil's Punch Bowl. The road became known as the A3 in 1920, and for many years it worked well. But in the early 1970s, a road strategy study was conducted to see what improvements could be made, if any, to the road. They were interested in the section between Petersfield and Guildford, which at the time was still just a small single carriageway road. Unfortunately, later in 1979, the newly elected Conservative government cancelled any plans for improving the road. Not long after, though, in 1983, the same government changed their mind. You might say they made a U-turn, and plans to improve the road at Hindhead were revived. The proposal was to build a bypass around the north and west sides of Hindhead Common. Unfortunately, this wasn't a very popular choice, and by 1987, they knocked the idea on the head and just didn't bother. So for a while, they just left it as it is. The public didn't want a horrible bypass ruining their wonderful countryside, and the landscapers and the architects had run out of ideas. This quickly grew to be a bit of a problem, as by 1992, the rest of the A3 had pretty much been upgraded to a full dual carriageway / motorway style status. The only section left was here at Hindhead. So they tried to come up with some other ideas, but all of them were rejected on environmental grounds. So there was only one thing for it: smash a massive tunnel through the ground underneath all of that environment. After much a feasibility study, it was decided that the project would go ahead. And in 2003, Chief Executive of the Highways Agency's Tim Matthews said that construction would start on the tunnel in 2005. So in 2007, construction on the tunnel began and it opened to traffic in 2011. Traffic was now routed underneath the Devil's Punch Bowl and Gibbet Hill, and then of course onto Guildford and London from there. So what's left today? Well, the OG route, that's pre-1826 road improvements, is now a public byway. You can still walk that or cycle it, and you can go up to the summit of Gibbet Hill just like you could before. If you take a wander up the pre-1826 route, you might find this milestone. It was actually found when they were digging out the Hindhead Tunnel in 2010 and moved back to its original location. Further research on it shows that it actually dates back as far as 1811. Another relic of history to look out for if you're in the area is what's called the Sailor's Stone. On the 24th of September 1786, an unknown sailor was murdered by 3 assailants on the old Portsmouth Road. The stone was put in place to commemorate these events and has been here ever since. As for the old A3, it's quickly being returned to nature, as the road was mostly removed at the time of building the Hindhead Tunnel. It's largely now covered by sandstone, which was excavated during the Hindhead Tunnel boring. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of the old A3. I very much appreciate you watching. If you wouldn't mind hitting the old like and subscribe buttons for me, that would be really appreciated. It certainly helps the channel grow onto bigger and better things. And as always, I shall see you guys next time for another exciting episode. Enjoy your week. See you then.